Good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream, and I'm going to do your Just for Today in a meditation for February the 2nd. I hope you're having a beautiful morning. If you need to reach me, feel free to do so at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Okay, the meditation is entitled Goodwill. Goodwill is best exemplified in service. Proper service is doing the right thing for the right reason. Basic text, page XV, Roman numeral 15. The spiritual core of our disease is self-centeredness. In dealing with others, the only motive our addiction taught us was selfishness. We wanted what we wanted when we wanted it. Obsession with self was rooted in the very ground of our lives. In recovery, how do we root self-obsession out? We reverse the effects of our disease by applying a few very simple spiritual principles. Let me repeat that. We reverse the effects of our disease by applying a few very simple spiritual principles. To counteract the self-centeredness of our addiction, we learn to apply the principle of goodwill. Rather than seeking to serve only ourselves, we begin serving others. Rather than thinking only about what we can get out of a situation, we learn to think first of the welfare of others. When faced with a moral choice, we learn to stop, recall spiritual principles, and act appropriately. As we begin doing the right thing for the right reason, we can detect a change in ourselves. Where once we were ruled by self-will, now we are guided by our goodwill for others. The chronic self-centeredness of addiction is losing its hold on us. We are learning to practice these principles in all our affairs. We are living in our recovery, not in our disease. Just for today, wherever I am, whatever I do, I will seek to serve others, not just myself. When faced with a dilemma, I will try to do the right thing for the right reason. Let's take a moment of silence followed by the wee version of the Serenity Prayer, please. Moment of silence now. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. Wow, wow, wow. Is this not scrumptious? This is a very good meditation. I like it. It makes me nervous, though, about what the other meditation is going to be about, because if this one is this deep, I'm imagining the spiritual principle a day in a meditation is probably going to be 2 pages long. Oh, man, but I can't wait to read it. I haven't read it yet. So we're talking about goodwill being exemplified. They're using this huge word, right? In service. So goodwill is demonstrated best in, right? It's highlighted in, it's magnified in service. And then it goes on to tell us what proper service is, right? It's doing the right thing for the right reason. And that's where many of us get a little bit off the path. Sometimes we don't start out with the right motive. However, generally speaking, with some time and working the spiritual principles of the program, it begins to line up. our motives become, as it says here, more proper, right? Our motives for doing what we do is goodwill, good intention, doing the right thing for the right reason. And it talks about the spiritual core of our diseases being self-centeredness. And I spoke to you last week about how it's difficult to understand. On one hand, you tell me to be self-caring, to have self-care, to take good care of myself, personal wellness. On one hand, you tell me to care for myself and you'll love me until I learn to love myself. And my definition of loving myself is a bit skewed because, on the other hand, the spiritual core of my disease is self-centeredness. Well, let me break that down really quick. Every human being that has breath in their body in a sane mind, even insane, right? Every human being that has breath in their body that is living has an innate, INNATE, an innate desire to take care of themselves. We go past self-care and into self-obsession, self-centeredness, because of the disease of addiction. The obsession and the compulsion drives us to only focus on ourselves. Most people can focus on others and themselves and want to. The disease of addiction, the obsession and compulsion, causes me to only think about what's beneficial for me. Because if I start thinking about what's beneficial for you, you're going to mess up my flow, my next, my high, right? Whatever that is. So we want to be certain here that we're not talking about self-care. We're talking about self-centeredness being the spiritual core of our disease, and how easy it is as a human being to move into, out of having a desire to care for ourselves, into self-centeredness. Because at the core of our being is ourself. It's very hard to get away from thinking about oneself. Okay? So a lot of us are trying to figure, well, how did I end up in this mess? Well, it started out just wanting to feel better. It started out wanting to just feel good. And because that component of the disease of addiction was already within, we decide, oh, this works. This high works for that problem. This works for that issue. Oh, this helps me to chill out so that I don't snap on my whole family. This works for relationships. Let me do a little bit more of that. And then it gets out of hand. And we find out that the physical component of drug use is that now I'm addicted to it. I have to have it in order to feel like I can function, like water and air. I'm dependent upon it now. And then we're off to the races. So when we talk about trying to reteach ourselves, as it says here, obsession is with self, right, is rooted in the very ground of our lives. It's so common, it's so natural, it's so innate. It is. But this principle of goodwill is being introduced to us now in Narcotics Anonymous. Huh? It sounds like God will, but it has another O. So, oh, okay. Goodwill? Huh. Oh, you mean seeking to serve others instead of just myself? Being concerned about the welfare of others? Oh, okay. You mean when I show up at the meeting early and help put the chairs out, that is a form of service. It is absolutely a form of service. And it is a form of goodwill when the motive is right. When my intention is trying to set the atmosphere of recovery so that when people come in, they're not looking for a place to sit and uncomfortable. And not, I'm doing it because I have no choice. It's community service. You see how the lines can get skewed? I'm mandated to drug court. I have to do community service. And I found out coming here and getting the building ready for the meeting can be considered community service. Really? Really? It sounds good, but who told you that was all right? Who told you that? And there's other things, right? That will make the essence of goodwill become skewed. Oh, it still is going to happen. We still need those chairs set up. But now it's a part of benefiting you getting out of drug court. It is a part. No, two separate things. Very much related because of the drug piece, but two separate things. That's why we're so particular about who's signing papers, and should be, so that we don't blur the lines. We have to be careful about blurring the lines. In small communities like the one that I live in, lines are blurred all the time. Because basically, last be lost, right? It's the stigma of once an addict, always an addict. And it's easier to have other addicts serve other addicts than it is for other people that are not addicts to get their hands dirty trying to serve us. It has a purpose for them. There's a motive for them that is not goodwill. Oh, they want the work done and they want the grant money, but they don't want to do the work, right? Because that right there, that's a little bit too much. But I can provide a room for y'all to meet in. But I definitely am not getting ready to set it up and do all that and interacting, making sure there aren't cigarette butts on the ground coming into my building. No, you guys take care of that, and I'll deal with just one person, one representative of your NA group, right? Just one person. So it's compassion, but it's limited. It's goodwill in a sense, but sometimes that spiritual principle of doing the right thing for the right reason isn't there. And that's why sometimes wherever our meetings are, we feel like we're, welcome, but not welcome, right? It's easier for us to serve one another if we have, generally speaking, the proper motive. And we can do the work. And we know how we get down. We know how to communicate with one another. And so we take that away from whatever organization that is, right? And so we have something that's very special. And you have something that's very special. And I have something that's very special. And goodwill is exemplified in service. Proper service is doing the right thing for the right reason. What are you doing? What service are you doing? What service are you doing? And is goodwill a component of that? I hope so. I believe it is. I believe it is. There's some people that get stuck in doing service positions for so long because no one else will step up. And there's some people that won't step up because the people won't step aside. And so I'm just challenging everyone. Is there another way that you can step up? Relieve someone that has been carrying the group or the weight of a particular service position because no one else will step up. If you think you can step up, step up. If you meet the qualifications, step up. In the spirit of rotation, there's nothing wrong with that. That is goodwill. That is caring, not to burn out our servants, our trusted servants. It's very caring. All right, enough of that. I have enjoyed your company this morning. I'm going to move on to the next meditation. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes to get that going, and make sure, as long as everything goes good, that it's recorded well. I hope that you have a beautiful day. Today is February 2nd, with us in the second month of year 2023, and it is amazing to be alive. Have a beautiful day on purpose.